Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the internet streets are talking. Reddit, TikTok, they're talking about black Americans leaving the United States. And many are coming to Jamaica. I didn't just talk about it, I did it 15 years ago and never looked back. This is the whole truth they're not telling you. And that's what I'm here for. Peace. My name is Jamaican Allah. My artist's name is P Funk City G. I'd like to welcome you to Rebel Life, and this is the naked truth. These are my thoughts from my point of view. I left America in 2009 at the foot of the housing crisis. Obama was just elected as president. I was graduating Gibbs College, and my future in America was uncertain. I knew I wanted to work for myself, continue being an entrepreneur. I was armed myself with a business degree, an associate's degree, and I had a good setting to establish what I really wanted to do. I was living in New York, New Jersey area, and as everyone knows, New York, New Jersey is the most expensive, one of the most expensive places to live in America. So I was looking for somewhere cheaper. My plan was to move down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and where the cost of living was much cheaper. As a graduation gift, I came to Jamaica. Came to Jamaica for a week. It turned out to be a month, and I had the time of my life. I met a beautiful young lady and a partner, a lifelong partner. And so we made things happen, you know. She took good care of me, taking care of the home, and I said, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I couldn't find that in America. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I couldn't find it, at 39 years old. At that time, I was 39 years old. So I was coming out of school. Couldn't find a woman, and if I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't have worked so hard for so long. I worked since I was 12. I started my profession in music at 25, and the American dream is based on working, and that's all I did. I didn't have time for relationships. I didn't have time for anything but working hard, trying to catch up, trying to get ahead, not fall behind. And that's the American dream for a black man in America. And that was my reality. I came to Jamaica, met a lifelong partner, and we put things together. And we hung out, and, had a great time. Like I said, we had the suite. I was there for about a month and a half. She took great care of me, took me shopping, showed me the different places, shopping markets, and I saw life where I could fit in. She had a auntie that had an apartment available. We went to see it, $140 a month. I said, yo, let me check that out. And it was a beautiful place, 2-bedroom apartment in a concrete home. And I told the landlord I'd be back, and I was back within 2 months. We came out in February. We left February 20-something. I was moving into the apartment in April. I was on a plane, April 9th, to Jamaica, and I haven't looked back. It's one of the greatest things that I've done, one of the greatest plans that came to fruition in my life. I built something in Jamaica that was more than a vacation. It was a life. It was a lifestyle. I've been a student of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad since I was 17, and one thing that he taught was to be self-sufficient. So in Jamaica, you have no choice but to be self-sufficient. These are hard-working people, goal-oriented, I've seen people take 20 years to build a house. Dollar by dollar, saving, get a piece of land, save up some more, get some dirt, some rocks, some concrete, lay a foundation, work a little bit more, save a little bit more, and then get the windows and the shit. And I've seen people take 20 years to build a house. The first, amazing house we lived in Cave. We lived in what they called the guest house in Cave. Took him 18 years to build that house, and we were his first tenants. So I was a witness to seeing hard work pay off. I had a newsletter in 2000, probably around 2011 or so, monthly newsletter. And, I did some research. And actually, it was kind of like my YouTube channel. The only thing is I didn't sit in front of a camera. I would type, we do research and type and email it out. YouTube wasn't even popping like it is now. And I remember researching a guy who had a store. They call him China Man. He's over there in Redgate. He has a little convenience store. People come and get everything from eggs, to chips, snacks, juices, and he sells gas. They sell the gas in the small tanks to cook, because Jamaica is a rock. There's no pipes, so you need gas. No pipes. The ground is hard, so you can't lay the pipes for the gas to come through like in America. So people use the gas, from the like they would use in America for a barbecue. And so I befriended him, and I started asking Chris. I said, I'm writing a story about the resiliency in Jamaica. If you were to give someone advice, what advice would you say? And he said, save and improve. And I think with that tells the story of Jamaican accomplishment. He said he started out riding a bike through town, selling cigarettes, snacks, chips, juices, waters on a bike. And he would ride around and sell off, save that money, reinvest it, and save the profit. He kept on doing that until he built a wood store, and or what they would call a board store. And then he saved and improved, and he laid a foundation for concrete, saved and improved, and he expanded it. Now it's one of the main shops out there. He has Chinese blood in him, but he's a black man. You know what they say? One drop of black blood and you're black. So that's how my Jamaican vacation became a lifestyle. And that was the moment I knew that I wasn't going back, was when I found out how cheap the cost of living was. I was able to get by. I was able to flourish. I was able to. I had some savings that had me firmly established, and I had a partner that was ready to figure it out, and I never looked back. Everybody's talking about leaving. The reason for this video is because everyone's talking about leaving. Not everyone's talking about what happens when you get there. And that's what this story is about. Reddit threads are talking about black people leaving. Where should they go? And I would recommend going somewhere on vacation. Even if you go to a resort, go on vacation. Go to a place that you always wanted to go to. And then meet someone who works at the resort. Become a friend. And I'm of course, don't pick anyone. You use your street smarts. We have black people, as black people in America, are resilient and highly intelligent. And if you use the skills that we use to get by in America, you can get by anywhere in the world. It's a cakewalk. America is one of the hardest, most violent, most crime-ridden places on the planet. You might hear about statistics and crimes being high in Jamaica, but that's not the case. Especially when you live in, if you live in America, in a black neighborhood. And it's not to say that black people are violent and criminals. It's that poverty breeds crime. And black people in America are living in crime and poverty, many of us. So if you can make it in America, you can make it anywhere. And you can use that resilience and that ability to adapt to situations, to adapt in Jamaica, the Caribbean, Africa, China, or wherever you decide to go. The choice is yours. What the travel bloggers get wrong, many of the people who blog about traveling and living in other places have never lived in other places. They do the research. But the research, my research came from living it out, jumping in, and then figuring it out. And that's what I think if I have a key to success is jumping in and figuring it out. You know, I see, especially in the music business, I see people waiting for the perfect opportunity to get started. And, you know, from my experience and being around billionaires and millionaires, they jump in and then figure it out. Because if we're waiting for the perfect opportunity to get started, it'll never come. And then you got a year goes by, then 2 years, then 5 years, then 10 years, then 20 years. And then you're sitting in the same place where you are and can't leave because you have accumulated responsibilities that won't allow you to take the step forward. And if you have, say, a good job or a good paying job and you start having kids, you can't leave that. So it's best to start right where you are, right now, and figure it out. And have faith in the universe. Have faith in yourself to get by and be resilient. And, you know, my whole philosophy in life is, if you do what other people do, you'll have what they have. But if you do something different, you're gonna have more or less. And that was my gamble. I knew I would end up with less than everybody or more than everybody. And I might have less money than everybody, but I have more experience in life and a strong spirituality. And I know myself well. And I'm able to look at America from an outside point of view. And when I came to Jamaica, it was, you know, I think I had the approach that, you know, let me help these brothers out here. But over time, I realized that they were helping me out far more than I could ever help them out. They were more advanced than I in many ways. The advantage that America has is its, I would say, it's commercialism. When people come out of America, you know, it's like we have money on our mind. So we was trying to figure out how to get money, and, you know, like, and I think that's a big difference here, is that a lot of people don't really have the, let's say in America, someone coming out of school, there are greater opportunities to work in a huge billion-dollar company. More industries to get into. You can get into engineering, you can get into politics, you can get into human services, social work. Here is really, those industries don't exist. So there's more industry to get into in America. But to have a higher quality of life and live a longer life and eat good foods and better health, that's what happens in Jamaica. To have more time to find out who you are and think, that happens in Jamaica or outside. And I'm not saying just in Jamaica, I'm saying outside of America. You know, my landlord, he lived in America for over 50 years. And he was just telling me, you know, we were just talking about it. And it's like the thing in America is you just only have time to work, work, work. And you don't want to fall behind. If you take a day off, you can fall behind and possibly be on the streets. In Jamaica, it's not like that. It's a easier life in many ways. So let's deal with some of the truths in Jamaica, or living in abroad, I should say. Is racism and hate is everywhere. You can't get away from it, especially not in this day and age. We're living in a competitive world, and that's, America is probably the most competitive place. But there's a lot of places that have the capitalist approach, and in capitalism, it's competition, right? It's an open market. People are competitive and fighting for the same thing. It's a dog-eat-dog world. The object is to put your foot on someone's neck, but don't have them put their foot on your neck. That's the nature of competition. So outside of that, we're always going to always have hate wherever we go. And Jamaica or outside the States is no different. There's people here that hate Americans, especially, I wouldn't even say Americans, they hate black Americans. And that's a whole nother story for another day. But you see it in people's the resentment in their eyes when they look at you. But the love out here far exceeds the hate. And that's what I thrive on. And the hate in here is just attitudes. In America, people want to show you that they don't like you. They're going to go out their way. So when you come, don't try to force it. Don't smile in people's faces trying to be accepted and friendly and over friendly, because you know people will take that for weakness and step on you, just like in America. Be true to who you are, and that will open up genuine friendships that you will attract the type of person you are. Truth 2. The cost of living frees your mind if you change your lifestyle. You can't have an American consumer mentality when you leave America. You have to be wise. Not ordering things from Amazon and Walmart and having it delivered. And you have to be wise with your money. Save, save, save. And recycle. I've learned the power of recycling here. You know, when I have an empty bottle, I save it. Might need it for something later. And that's for a whole bunch of other things. You don't just throw things in the garbage in America and buy something new. Here and outside of America, you recycle. You learn to be thrifty. And if you're into designer clothes and the latest car and the flossing and showing, and don't leave America. Stay there, because that will leave you broke anywhere. Also, it makes you a target. And maybe not that people are going to come like in America with guns and ski masks, to do something. But people begging and asking for things, just like in America. So they see you jumping out of a Mercedes. They say, "Yo, let me hold something." You can't take it personal. They think you have extra, and most of the time, the people living like that are just getting by. They're a dollar away from repossession. The flossing will keep you broke, just like it'll keep blacks, just like it keeps black people broke in America. Truth 3. Distance gives you clarity. Once you leave America, you're seeing a whole different news cycle. Like here in America, in Jamaica, the reports that I'm seeing, and not necessarily from Jamaica media, but from world reports, is completely different than what I'm seeing on CNN and Fox about the war in Iran. Completely different. And so you're looking at America from an outside point of view, and it changes your perspective. From here, America seems to be a huge bully. They go around bullying people, running into countries, changing leadership when they choose, but don't want people coming in there changing their leadership. And that's the mark of a bully or a competitive nation. People who are competitive, they want to do to you what they don't want you to do to them. And this comes into our mindset and how we approach people and see people and view people. And it's the us against them. They have a saying. In Jamaica, out of many, one people. That's the motto. I'm paraphrasing, so I might have, messed it up like a little bit, but that's basically what it is. In Jamaica, we are all one. Now, there might be problems. What they call the uptown people don't like the downtown people. The downtown people don't like the uptown people because the uptown people are uppity and, things of that nature. But they don't go out their way to do harm to the people that they feel a certain way about. I know people hate black Americans over here, some people. And some people love black Americans. But it doesn't stop me from doing what I need to do. It never gets in my way. When you're in the supermarket in America, and someone looking at you, with hate in their eyes, wanting to do you something. But the difference is, it just stays there, here. Over there, they might follow you to your car. They might curse you out. What you looking at? With the attitude and all of that, and want to be heard. It's not like that here. And that's why I love it. From here I started understanding things about the black American culture that could have never been seen while living in the Matrix. And that one of them are the premise that many American from the Caucasian side and the different nationalities is that America is always under the disguise that they're here to help. People say, I want to become a cop because I want to help people. I want to be a nurse because I want to help people. And 9 times out of 10, that's just a front. They don't want to help people. They want to carry a gun, or they want a job with security. And we know that from going into the health system. Some of these nurses are some of the most wickedest people. They're killing people and poisoning people and not being helpful when people are there vulnerable and in need of services. And so that's what we want to do is, and what I've noticed outside of the matrix is get rid of all of that Americanism. You know, like I said earlier, like I had a vibe that I want to help my brothers here. And come to find out, I was the most needing help. One thing that I want to correct is people's thinking and the notion that people who leave America are running away from something. It's not that we're running, we're returning to our own. And when I say we're returning to our own, you have to remember that black people are the majority of the universe, the majority of the planet Earth. There's more black people on Earth than more people of any nationality, including the Chinese. There's 7.8 billion black people on the planet. But there's only 17 million in America. So who do you think has the most power? The 7.8 billion people around the planet unified? Or the 17 million black people that are segregated, ostracized, and immobilized, causing them to be neutralized? What's the feeling like to be in a country where you're not the minority? It's a great feeling. It feels great. It feels empowering. And I feel appreciated. You know, I've told the story of, you know, when I'm in the car and passing, you know, they have, you know, checks. They're checking for guns. And so you have to go, just like in America when you're going through a DUI checkpoint. You know, they have like checkpoints for, you know, searching for guns and things of that nature. And, you know, when we pull up in the States, in America, heart is thumping and beating, you know, every time I go past the police, you know, or a checkpoint, because you know that it could end horribly, even if you're not drunk, even if you're innocent of any crime. You can be treated, your face down in the pavement. But out here, when we come through the checkpoints, people will, you know, roll down the window so they can see, you know, who I am, and say something G so they can hear my American accent, and, you know, let the police know, you know, we harmless over here. And for the first time in my life, that, you know, it happened here. I've never had, you know, any good encounters with a police officer. Even, you know, childhood friends that have become cops have turned their back on me. So I don't trust police at all. So that's one refreshing thing. And, you know, the thing is that when you come to America, you got to remember you're not a stranger. You're not a stranger. Your bloodline is here. You have blood here. And many black Americans, through the slave trade, and Jamaicans, we don't know how we ended up where we are. And so we could be relinking with our blood cousins 3-4 generations removed. We don't know that, but we know that we have the same start and we have the same history. So we want to take advantage of that. We have to remember that they are us and we are them. The American bloodline runs deep through the Caribbean, through America, and through the planet. We differ by culture alone, nothing else. To tie this up, there's a version of your life where you are free in a way that America cannot support structurally. There's a whole universe, a whole planet, 196 million square miles, that was created for us, the first people to inhabit the planet Earth. So why limit yourself? Check it out. See what's going on out there. Like I said, don't go there smiling like a fool. Be wise. Create friendships in all walks of life. Live in luxury, money, in good homes. Step into heaven at once. That is the greatest desire of your brother and your teachers. If you're asking, would I go back? The answer is no. There's not a chance in heck that I would go back. And it's getting worse by the hour. It's not for everyone. It's a personal choice to stay or leave. But our life and our very existence depends on the decisions that we make. Make your decisions wisely and do what's best for you. Whether you find God in yourself or God somewhere else, tap into that energy, that life force, and strive to be the best human that you can be wherever you are. I found that here in Jamaica. I'm gonna leave it there. And as always, love, peace, and happiness.
Well, I'm doing it. I'm leaving the US for good this time. It feels so weird actually, because before we were just using the vacation visa because we wanted to make sure it's somewhere we want to be. We got our actual 4-year visa and we're leaving. It was just time. We're being priced out.
This is
we're
wild,
exhausted. Bro. This rat race is like, that's not how we want to go out. It feels so surreal right now because it's like official. Like we have the visas. Well, my husband does. I had to work on getting mine when we get back. But like, this is it. I am both extremely happy and very sad at the same time.
I can imagine.
I'm gonna miss my family. But we just decided we're not gonna let anything stop us from living a life that makes us happy. And this life that we have chosen is what brings us joy.
The rat race that is living in the United States.
This ain't just white folks
this
moving too. This black people.
Of workaholics, this culture of trauma bonding, this culture of stress and anxiety being the norm. Y'all, that's not supposed to be normal. Me and my husband did not realize how stressed out we were until we left the United States. We decided we wanted to live a slower life. We wanted to live a more peaceful life. We wanted to live a life where people actually had community. We wanted to live a life where people actually went outside and everybody wasn't just addicted to screens. And y'all, I'm telling you, our mental, physical, spiritual health has never been better. If you want to leave the United States in 2025, I promise it is possible for you, but you got to take action to make it happen.
I left America 6 months ago and my life is infinitely better. Let's talk about it. First things first, I've talked about this in other videos, but it cost me around $1,000 to leave the States, which is significantly less money than I ever anticipated. And I think it's a really important thing for everyone to be talking about, that it actually costs a lot less than you might think to leave the US. Since moving abroad, these are the things that have improved in my life. First and foremost, my physical health is infinitely better.
I knew that was going to be the first one, dog. This is a common theme. This is a trend that I've been seeing. People just feel better. They feel lighter as soon as they move out the country. After like 30 days, dog, they say, damn, dog, my gut health feels better. My mental health feels better, bro. Everything. Because you're not eating all that processed chemical shit that they feed us here. And the air probably less polluted.
And I cannot stress this enough. My central nervous system is relaxed and calm for the first time in my life.
I thought leaving the country was going to be like the biggest culture shock. Turns out the biggest culture shock was actually moving back to America, man. So we've been back, back in the States from Thailand. We lived in Thailand for 9 months straight. Completely 90 days since we've been back, like trying to get back to used to driving a car. But off rip, just the prices, man. Like the first day we touched back down, like we spent $300 immediately. And that doesn't sound like much because we're used to spending that here, but man, like in Thailand, that was my rent for the month. So I legit just dropped my rent payment.
We know things are changing in the U.S. I acknowledge leaving is a privilege. Not everyone can do it. Many don't want to. Some want to stay and fight. Some want to stay because they have to or have other obligations. I get it. If you're staying, what is the plan? How do you plan to protect your income, protect your families, protect your food supply? What adjustments do you foresee you having to make? This is not to prove anything to anyone or to convince anyone of anything. This is strictly crowdsourcing because everyone does not have the privilege or the desire to leave. If you're staying, how are you going to do it? Someone else needs your idea. It's good to know that other people are working through and thinking through what's going to be required as things deteriorate. How will you adjust to these changes? Whether we leave or stay, we need a plan and we need each other.
Funk City G.